I've referenced it time and time again. I found somebody that was able to get the clip together. It's basically talking about Buzz Aldrin going down to Antarctica and having that heart attack. You guys remember when that happened? And if you don't, they talk about it over here. And that's very important, right? Because when we talk about this alien stuff and this UFO, UAP phenomenon, aliens, giants, all this type of stuff, it's all very interconnected. But let's go ahead and pull up this quick clip talking about Buzz Aldrin and what terrified him as he went to Antarctica.
You see, my surrogate mother was Viola Armstrong. She had a son named Neil.
Oh, really?
As you know, the story goes, he went down to Antarctica, had a heart attack, stroke combo, and came back. And then there was stuff on the internet. I had to look at Buzz and ask him, Buzz, what happened down there, Bud? Buzz did say one thing, and it just stuck in my head. It's the way he said it. He just said, we thought out things we shouldn't. And if Buzz saw something, I don't know what it was, but it was enough to give the man a heart attack. So if there are beings down there, I would think these beings never planned on us. They've been there, they came in millions of years ago. They've been under ice for millions of years. I don't think they were expecting us.
Let me ask the thing about Buzz Aldrin, that there was this very cryptic tweet that came out during his stay down there. He said, "We have seen the faces of evil and we're all in danger." And this is right before he had his heart attack. And I can tell you, logistically, to do a medical evacuation from the interior of Antarctica is very difficult and very expensive. So something must have majorly gone wrong.
To underscore the fact that when the C-130 crew had dropped them off, they disappeared. And then when they went to try to find them, there was nothing at the National Science Foundation camp at all. Nothing.
They were gone.
They were
dozen
totally
scientists.
gone. And when they did show up, they had been missing for a couple of weeks.
In January 1934, the Los Angeles Times published a front-page story that captured the city's imagination. Mining engineer G. Warren Schufelt claimed to have discovered evidence of an ancient underground catacomb city, built by the #Lizard people beneath Fort Moore Hill in downtown Los Angeles. According to Schufelt, this advanced civilization, described in Hopi legends as a race of highly intelligent beings, had fled a massive meteor-induced fire catastrophe thousands of years earlier.
Or different types of life, at least. Yeah.
And the people I've talked through the process of making the documentary, both on camera and off the record sources, and the people Hal's talked to over the decades, have said that there have been dozens of recoveries of crashed craft in the U.S. alone. Dozens of craft of non-human origin that either crashed organically or were caused to crash and then recovered.
The Hopi people of the American Southwest preserve one of the most fascinating oral histories in Native American tradition, their own UFO files passed down through spoken word for generations. Central to these legends are the ant people known as #ANU Sinum or Tukwintuki. Mysterious benevolent beings often described as resembling ants or what many today interpret as mantids, tall, thin, insect-like entities with antennae, large eyes, and an otherworldly presence.
I see a lot of people talking about the church not necessarily being prepared for disclosure. That was done on purpose, like 1,000%. I see people talking about how, oh my God, they're Christian, they don't believe in ghosts. What are you talking about? If you're a Christian, you should believe in ghosts. Like the Holy Ghost, your very belief should be supernatural. So when I see people talk about the UFO files, the paranormal, the supernatural from a Christian lens, I take it pretty serious. So Christians were intentionally kept in the dark regarding UFOs, aliens, paranormal phenomena for a reason. Because unlike other religions, there is a hierarchy that is expressed in the Bible. It talks about archangels, it talks about the hierarchy of hell, right? But now we're being told that there's only 4 type of aliens that we need to look out for. Seems kind of sus, doesn't it? And so the Bible itself is a multi-dimensional, supernatural book that records all of these crazy encounters that humanity has had in the past with the strange and the unexplained, with these entities and so forth. But they kept your churches bound by the 501c3 nonprofit clause, ignorant of all of these different type of things. If you read your Bible, it will talk about more than 4 species of quote-unquote extraterrestrial entities or aliens.
We do have so-called interdimensional beings bleeding into this reality. I did a video about that earlier this week. It was either this week or last week, talking about Memorandum 6751. And history is littered with tales of the so-called reptilians. It's just this is the future. This is why I say the Bible is the most science fiction book you will ever read. It's our interpretation of this information that makes it seem like it's crazy. No, we were crazy for thinking things were normal. We were crazy for thinking that things were going to be okay and simple. And I can tell you they're not. From here on out, it's going to be chaotic. We're talking about viruses busting out on ships that come from rats and now, bursting into humans.
We are not alone. The Pentagon released the UFO files a few weeks back, and we just found out over 1 billion people have visited the site. 1 billion. It's got to be a record. The War Department says more files will be released soon. UFO experts and top researchers have been investigating aliens for years. Their sources say dozens of crashed UFOs have been recovered, and what they found inside? Shocking.
And do people think that there's one type of non-human intelligence that's visiting the Earth, or is there many, many types?
People who have been involved in recoveries have said
there are at least 4 separate types. Now, I have not had direct access to that, but I believe the people who I talked to.
4 different types of life.
4 different types of life.
4 different species of aliens. Another scientist called them Greys, Nordics, Insectoids, and Reptilians. All of them have 2 arms and 2 legs, just like us. Experts speculate the Reptilians are scaly with long tails, like a lizard. Insectoids look like a praying mantis. The Greys look like your classic movie alien, and the Nordics look like a regular Swedish guy, but 7 feet tall. We haven't seen the evidence, but Pete Hegseth says more evidence is coming, and there are a lot of believers in Congress.
I have seen evidence in a skiff that leads me to believe there are things we cannot explain, and I have observed things that are of non-human origin and creation. That's my opinion.
Releasing the files isn't easy. They've been hidden for years, and a lot of people want to keep it that way.
The problem we have right now is the deep state's fighting the president on release, and he kept his word, and I suspect some of our not so friendly comrades and some of our alphabet agencies are slow walking a lot of the information. It's about power, it's about control, and that's kind of what runs Washington.
So why is our own government fighting so hard to keep these secret? Well, 12 scientists have either gone missing or died. Now, we don't know if that's related, but people are scared to talk.
One I thought was going to do an interview, and then a couple days before sent me a message saying, after further consideration and long talks with my wife, I decided I'd be forfeiting my life if I participated in your interview. And I thought that was like very unsettling message to get, obviously, but also very specific word choice, forfeiting my life.
A leaked FBI file describes 4-foot-tall aliens emerging from UFOs. As a newly resurfaced document once again fuels speculation about one of the federal government's most bizarre UFO mysteries. Claims that tiny humanoid beings were recovered from crashed flying saucers in New Mexico. The decades-old memo was originally written on March 22, 1950, by Guy Hoddle, then the special agent in charge of the FBI's Washington field office.
Question, Will. First and foremost, they're real. We're being visited by some type of higher order intelligence that we don't understand, and we don't even know their intentions. And it's happening often, frequently, and in our airspace, water space. So that should be a cause of concern for our government. And we know the government knows and is not acknowledging that full new nature of reality. And that's probably my biggest point here, is that us being not alone in the universe is probably the story of the century or the millennia. And really, like Galileo, when he changed the entire thought of the Western world, we're at the same inflection point now in our understanding of the universe. It's a new nature of reality. And at least for America, the American people have a right to know that. And the government does know that, and they're not disclosing it.
All right, without getting too sensationalized like I have been in the previous clips, let me try to make my point. Them rolling out the UFO files in this capacity is going to inject a mystical component in the collective consciousness that was previously dormant. And what I'm trying to allude to is them trying to control the greater awakening that is taking place. People realizing that they have superpowers, people realizing that they have psychic powers, people realizing that they can affect reality, people beginning to understand things like quantum mechanics, right? That's all the UFO files are. It's like for years we would talk about just, how science is missing the human component. It's not quantifying the human spirit. It's not taking that into consideration when it's doing all of its calculations and everything, right? Well, what if that's what's in the files now? What if that's what's in the files? Is recognizing the dunamis, the powerful and dynamic spirit that is humanity, and then building technology around that. Unlocking, again, our extrasensory perception, unlocking our supernatural abilities, unlocking all of these different things. What if that's what's in the tech? What if that's what's in the files? What if they already know that we have energy signatures that can be read, that we can astral project, that we do have psychic capabilities, that pyromancy is real, that apportation, teleportation, all of these different things are very real and a part of our very, very mysterious universe. And so what happens whenever you have the whole world not necessarily talking about Donald Trump and, Jeffrey Epstein and the Russian collusion hoax and just like Orange Man bad? What happens whenever you actually inject these occult topics into the greater society? Like, really think about what that could do. It collectively opens up a portal, is what it does. It creates a understanding and a, not even like a neural network or like a brain swelling, but it creates this like this concept within humanity that we can access these realms, we can communicate with these things. They're not woo-woo, that they are real, and that we need to define them, that we need to come up with a terminology to explain the unexplainable. Maybe that's why they're just like rolling it out here to the public so they can roll AI on us and start observing how we're responding, again, to this disruptive technology, to these paranormal concepts, to these supernatural realities that we're waking up to. Maybe they have the technology in place to observe how we're responding basically to magical information. Like, what do you... And so we grew up with like people talking about, I'm communing with, 5D spirits. Oh, I'm practicing crystal worship. Oh, I'm a Wiccan, I'm a pagan, I'm a Luciferian, I'm a Satanist, I'm an occultist, I'm an alchemist. That's what our generation grew up talking about. What happens when we take that a step further? And what I'm trying to get around to saying, or at least what I'm trying to allude to, is the fact that humanity is a song. Humanity is a frequency. Humanity all chirping together the way that we are, it is like a harmonic resonance. And if they're able to adjust our speech, they're able to adjust our frequency and adjust our output, which also affects what we're receiving and affects what we're taking in. Portals, portals, portals. That's what I'm talking about. They're throwing this out there so we can start making all the portals and start observing all the crazy crap that these people are doing to us. They got the technology to go to the other side, right? That's what space really is. That's what the psychoverse is, the psychoid layer. You can go look into some of the Epstein files. That's what they were trying to do. That's what the whole DMT, Rick Straussman, the spirit molecule studies were, right? They were becoming psychonauts. They were going into the astral realm. They got the tech and they got what's needed to access these places. But now that they got all these portals open up,
Now that they got all this like unexplained phenomena happening, they don't really know what the hell they're doing. And they're kind of decentralizing this unexplained phenomena, saying, hey, we need you guys to help us figure this out. We don't have a good hand on this. It's kind of out of control. They're basically saying, hey, we don't have a handle on this whole paranormal thing. We're battling it in the way that we can, but we kind of need to bring this to awareness that other people might need to get involved with this situation here. This isn't orderly anymore. And so the spiritual war that we've all been experiencing for years is beginning to manifest itself. We have things that are cooperating and coexisting in the same space we are, or just outside of our phase of reality, penetrating our reality, trying to come in, recruiting people, having them do nefarious things so that they can bring more of their friends in. That's what's happening on this side now. Now you have people saying, hey, we need to recruit forces on our end because the adversarial forces on the other side, they are getting locked in. They want control, they want dominion. They are not playing around. Yo, what's going on, guys? Like, straight up. If you've been watching the story, you've been paying attention to the page, you've been seeing what we're doing over here on this show, please just click this link wherever it is, somewhere over here in this little box area. It's a group chat. It's an Instagram group chat. I'm spending more time up over here. It would be nice to communicate with our existing audience. So go ahead and click that link wherever it is. And this is basically where I'm going to say like GM. I'll put articles before I post them here. Thoughts. Is basically just so I can communicate with the audience, man. That's really what it boils down to. Join the Freedom Factions Truth Seeker group chat. Come say what's up. It's not Discord, it's not Telegram, it's not Twitter group chat. It's Instagram because it's where we are at. Later. Salutations, my friends, and thank you for tuning in to a quick ad. That's right. It's a quick ad for your favorite show, Factions of Freedom. I want to say, if you could take the time to go to patreon.com/noise, patreon.com/NOIZCE. That's the best way to support this operation. Once you go there, you can get yourself an exclusive membership. You can get yourself a t-shirt. You can get access to our previous seasons, and you can get access to our group chat. That's right. There's a completely different group chat for the exclusive members, both on Patreon, Instagram, and Telegram. Patreon.com/noise. That's the best way to support this operation. It will also be our central hub where we begin to roll out some of the other cool features that we have in store. As I said before, things like t-shirts, merchandise, nutraceuticals, archived content, and so much more. Patreon.com/NOIZCE. You can also support us through Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/noise. You can also support us through Cash App at Freedom's Faction, as well as paypal.me/noise. There's all kinds of different ways for you to support us. You can also hit like, share, subscribe. We're on all different platforms as well. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. I don't think we're posting so much on Gab and Truth Social, but you can find some of our videos over there on Odyssey as well as Brighteon. Patreon.com/noise is your hub and your gateway to the Factions of Freedom. Thank you for your time, and we will see you on the other side.